So to finish the 1.3, I'm going to call it B, is this one last slide or one last piece of paper for you. And this time, instead of being given the equation, which I know the equation's right here, I'm going to show you that you can just find these values. Finding g of 6 is basically saying x is negative 6, well, what's y? So go where x is negative 6. Curve, the graph hits a curve right here. Well, what's the y value? Negative 1. So we write it this way, g of negative 6 is equal to negative 1. Now you can confirm that by going down here. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. The absolute value of that is positive 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So just to color code this, well, what's g of 1 then? And you go to where x is 1. Maybe I should write that down. See where you hit the curve. And what's your y value? Because remember, that's the question. What's your y value when x is 1? Negative 2. So in the next problem, again, you could plug in, because remember, this says y equals negative 4, and you can plug it into this equation and see what values you get. Or you can make a horizontal line at y equals negative 4, which is right here. And you can see, okay, well, the curve hits right here. Well, what's that x value? Negative 3. Or, looking at this value, x equals negative 1. So there's 2 times that g of x equals negative 4 at negative 3 and negative 1. Same thing with the next one. The only issue, as I'm looking at the next one, is that we're saying y equals 5. Well, this is definitely, if I were to graph y equals 5, 3, 4, 5 up here, I can't even see. Now, could you, if you wanted to, count until you get there? Absolutely. But instead, I'm going to do this problem a little different and just let x plus 2, absolute value of that, minus 5, equal 5. Well, to solve this, you would add 5 over. So x plus 2 would equal 10. Now remember, there's a second scenario here. I think you learned this in Algebra 2, because what's in the absolute value could have actually been negative 10. I'm trying to squeeze that in there. So as you solve this, this first one is just subtracting 2 over, so x could have been 8. But in this one, if we subtract 2 over, we would have gotten negative 12. So there's 2 different ways to get these answers. And I want you to know both. In the very last problem down here, again, you're asked what's the y value when x is negative 1. Well, right here is negative 1. Go down. Well, this is approximately 1.5. But you can get the exact answer by plugging in negative 1 in for x. And feel free to leave your answer as a radical. That's not the right number. Negative 1 plus 6 is 5, plus 3. So instead of just plugging into a calculator, which you could do, just get a calculator. I said I wasn't going to, now I'm doing it. Square root of 5 plus 3. I said the answer is about negative 1.5. Well, this confirms it's negative 1.472. Same thing with the next one, except this would not be advantageous to look at the graph, because if you look at the graph for x equals 10, it doesn't even appear. It's all the way over here. So this is where you would for sure want to use a calculator. Well, you don't even need a calculator, because 10 plus 6 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. If you do negative 2 times 4, you get negative 8, and add 3 to negative 8, you'll get negative 5. Alright, so the next one, which value would you get h of x equal to 1? Remember, that's your horizontal line, y equals 1, which is right here. And so the question goes, well, what's the x value? And the only time that happens is right here, where x equals negative 5. Or what you could do is you could take this equation. I'm not actually going to solve it because I'm going to have to do it on this one, I believe. Actually, I don't have to. And set it equal to 1. Well, if I solve that, I'd subtract 3 over, which is negative 2, divide by this negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. And to undo the square root, you square both sides. So squaring 1 is 1, and subtract 6 over, you'll get negative 5. And just one last problem here. Again, this is saying y equals negative 3, so draw a horizontal line at y equals negative 3. It looks like it hits perfectly right here, and that is the x value of 3. And you can confirm that just like what I did with the other problem. Take the equation and set it equal to negative 3. That equation, subtract 3 is negative 6, divided by negative 2 is positive 3. Hopefully that makes sense. Please let me know if you're stuck anywhere. Square both sides. Well, if you square 3, you'll get 9, and then subtract 6 over, and you'll get x equals 3, just like I promised. And now you should be ready to work on the homework, which would be the next slide for you.